Okay, good afternoon. We have with us Chris Roberts. Chris, welcome to our program. Chris, it's a pleasure to have you here. I wanted to invite you for a long time, and I'm glad you finally made it.
Yes,
So you're a very busy man, right?
yes, I am. Thanks for inviting me.
So, Chris, I have known you for now, what, 2 years?
Yes,
I
yes,
had the luck to meet you somewhere, and it's been a pleasure to do business with you and everything. And I think it's a good time for us to talk about what you do. So it says here that you do Calco Computing Services. Can you tell us what it is and what you do?
yes, certainly. Kelco Computing Solutions is a IT consulting firm. I started the firm back in 1991, and for well over 24 plus years now, we've been providing complete technology solutions to a variety of clients. Our clients range from private sector clients, as an example, warehousing, freight forwarding companies, attorneys, and the like,
Mm-hmm.
to local and state government agencies. We also do work in the federal sector. One of our most notable clients is NASA Space
Okay,
Center.
yeah, and it still is?
Yes, still is.
Okay, and those are in how many states? They are in California and in Washington, D.C.?
Yes. We've got clients all over the United States, and we also have some international clients as well. But again, more importantly about our technology consulting business, what makes us unique is that we often bring the best and brightest talent on the planet to our customers, and in using that talent allows us to provide complete and effective solutions, which are highly desirable for our clientele.
Okay, so is it something that their internal staff might not see, or is it something that is added to what they currently have?
Well, that's a very good question. And be frank with you, the needs of our clients vary. So we have occasions where we come in and support existing IT staff, meaning that they may have
Already
burdens
people
or
in,
workloads that
yeah.
are that are exhaustive to some of the existing staff. So we come in and augment that staff with some talented engineers who hit the ground running. And then there are occasions when these customers may have no idea how to solve a problem. They may be challenged with asset inventory problems or database problems or even customized applications problems. And in that scenario, we would bring in, again, the most appropriate talent to work to develop a solution for the client, and make sure that we meet their needs in that area.
So these people currently don't have an in-house staff doing that kind of work.
Right. In that scenario, yes, they wouldn't have an in-house staff. We would provide, again, talented engineers, and we would meet with the customer, get an understanding of their expectations and their needs, and then solve that problem for them in the most appropriate way.
And when you say solve that problem, how long does it take to solve a problem? Is it like a week, 2 months, or is it you first have to do an assessment of the problem?
Yeah, oftentimes, again, we have to assess what the problem is and then what the outcomes or the anticipated outcomes are going to be. So we understand what the client expects, we understand what the nature of the problem, and then we devise a solution utilizing the most relevant technology to solve that problem.
Okay.
So that could also lead to ongoing consulting efforts in the way of research and development, modifications to off-the-shelf technology. So that the time it actually takes to solve a problem actually depends on the nature of the problem.
Okay, and depends also if the clients want to keep you ongoing to keep the problem solved for long term.
Yeah, certainly. And again,
Because they don't want you to go and the problem reoccur, right?
right. Well, we have situations where our engineers come and see our clients on a continual basis. So at periodic intervals, again,
Oh,
some
they
clients
come.
may want to see them weekly or maybe bi-weekly. We'll send an engineer out to address the problems that may arise in their absence.
Okay. And I assume, since you are the CEO, that you know, because you have a lot of experience, you said 24 years, that you know
Correct.
which engineer to send to which company. Is that your role here?
Well, it's not my role, but I do have a capture manager and a staffing manager who actually looks at the needs of our clients as well as our
And
bench
decide
strength.
who to send?
Exactly. Look at
Okay.
and also helps us when we determine when to hire additional people. We want to have enough bench strength to address the needs of our clients in a dynamic manner, but we don't have people sitting around with nothing to do
Of course,
and
and you
absorbing
send
that
them other
expense.
thing.
Certainly.
So, for example, the people you hired 24 years ago,
Hmm.
Are they able to solve the problem of nowadays, or you have to hire new blood, new graduates from new universities?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And what we typically do is we are in a continual cycle of recruitment.
Okay.
Technology changes on an ongoing
Exactly.
basis.
And they get trained differently.
Yes, exactly. So the engineers that we employ, we encourage them to go out and seek additional training on new and relevant technologies.
If they want to stay employed with you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we also bring in new, fresh talent right out of school. And again, we've got some talented engineers from overseas who've had some diverse experience. And again, multilingual, technicians are highly desirable when we do work in the international market.
Yeah, that would when you say overseas, light up the bulb, because the president of the Chamber of Commerce said that for technical people and highly educated people, currently it's -0% unemployment, so they have to bring people from overseas. So do you face the same problems to find highly trained people?
Well, in our particular scenarios, we have talented people here in Silicon Valley, and that works very well for us from a regional approach.
Yeah.
We have a little bit more of a challenge on the East Coast in our Washington, D.C. location because it's a little more specialized area. That's more of a federal focus.
More
So it's
people
government.
into politics.
Yeah. Well, again, there is a need for the technology and the solutions that we provide, but it has to be tailored to a federal environment, which is much different than the private sector environment. And then I go further to say that in an international environment, they have different challenges as well. So the type of individuals that we need in each of those unique scenarios, it varies. But I think as a whole, we aren't experiencing any shortage of available engineers. Like I said,
so that's the good
typically-
news for your sector, for your industry?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, certainly.
So it must be done in other, maybe coders are in shortage or things like that. We don't know.
Certainly.
But you yourself, I assume you are yourself an IT person?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How did you get into the IT business?
Oh, wow, I tell you. Well, that goes back some time. I started basically in high school with basic and Fortran programming. So
my
I got,
goodness.
yes. So I've got hands-on experience in that.
So you were a programmer?
I was a programmer initially, Fortran, COBOL, and basic language. Moved from programming,
From that
to
doing
database
IT.
administration. I was a magnetic tape librarian. I went on to designing and administrating local area networks, and then from there, I launched Kelco.
You decided I know enough not to direct people in different sites.
Well, certainly one of the things that made me start the business was I was working for a large engineering firm. It had 6 offices in California and 1 in Colorado. And it was at a time when civil engineering was declining. So they were laying engineers off, but me and my IT staff, we were working over 40 hours a week. So I felt like the priorities of the company were wrong. So it gave me the incentive to start a company with better goals and a company that treated the employees
There were more
much
demand
better.
for your services than other services.
Certainly. Well, and again, in retrospect, yes, technology was taking off and civil engineering was in a downturn at the time.
So you got in just when it was very much in demand?
Yes, it was very much in demand, and that led to our potential growth or exponential growth, and it all started in Silicon Valley. So we were in Silicon Valley, and we made it through the dot-com explosion and the subsequent implosion because we were a diverse clientele. Again, I mentioned
Talking
attorneys.
about .com, a question comes to mind. All these new startups in San Francisco, like there's thousands coming to San Francisco, I don't know why, because they like it. But do they need IT services? That's the question.
Well, oftentimes, IT services from a business perspective are becoming more and more commoditized. So as an example, everyone's going to need email.
Yeah. That's not IT, is it?
Well, it is. Information
It is?
technology, yes. It's the management of technology and
Management of all the emails coming in and out?
yes. And
Okay.
obviously just the facilitation of that service. So so that service in a lot of occasions gets outsourced. So smaller, medium-sized businesses can outsource that very easily to a variety of providers. Even startup companies could potentially outsource that initially. But the technology is so commoditized that you can run an in-house server, if you will, with email services, print services, file and storage services, and the like. And that overhead is very little. So you could have someone administer that network and still do other tasks and duties. So that
Okay.
is something else that's changed.
Now, when you say outsource, they outsource to a company like you.
And that's possible. I mean, there are companies who outsource, some of their, again, just general support or these other services to our company.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of large companies, from Rackspace to the
Yeah,
Amazons,
they're getting bigger and bigger.
right? Who offer solutions to host email and SharePoint sites
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So it's a very competitive business, and you have to make very intelligent decisions as a business owner on what to outsource and what to manage and maintain yourself.
Okay. But your business has nothing to do with what Workspace provides. You are more like someone who
Right.
sends an engineer.
Yes, we are consultants. Our role is to consult with our customer, and that consultation usually starts with a very frank conversation. You'd be surprised, the information you can find out from a very frank conversation with an
Yeah, you
individual.
find out.
You understand where their pain points are, what their goals and objectives are.
Yeah.
And from that information, that allows us to be true consultants. We can take the best available technology and design a complete and effective solution for that customer.
Okay.
And that's what they need.
So let's say a company is just a startup with 5 people, and all of a sudden they make it. They're big. So all of a sudden you came in when they were like 5 people, and now they are hiring like crazy because they got the funding and they got 100 people. So because you get in early, then you get more work from them.
Well, that's not necessarily the case.
No?
One of the things that, and it's kind of a double-edged sword for us.
Yeah.
We take great pleasure in building a company and seeing them become successful.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it only makes sense for that company to internalize some of their IT
then
services.
they say, okay.
So it's almost like watching your kid go off to college, So, we feel good about what they've achieved and what we've helped them achieve. But now it's time for them to go on and do great things on their own. So,
Is
yeah.
that the way it works? But you
yes.
still work with companies who have been around for a long time.
Certainly. And again,
Yeah.
those companies who oftentimes go on and outgrow our daily consulting needs
Yeah.
often come back to us for more challenging problems and solutions. So we may see them again at some point.
So you told me that you did programming and IT. So a consultant has to understand both the hardware part and the computing part of it. I mean,
Certainly.
the programming part of it.
Yes, indeed.
So it's not just data being managed. It's also understanding what's going on.
Yeah, well, and again, I think that's the role of an effective consultant. There are a lot of people who really know programming, as an example, and there are
Yeah.
some people who may know a particular application. But a true consultant is one who can and really understand and comprehend the needs of the client, the customer, as well as a person who has an in-depth knowledge and an ongoing desire to acquire knowledge about new and relevant technology.
Right.
Because what that allows the consultant to do is apply that technology in a way that's effective for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So as an example, if the customer has a need to expand and build a new location,
Yeah.
well, it's easy to think about it from a typical brick and mortar perspective. Hey, we got to get a new building, we've got to get desks and chairs and so forth. But when you think about how do we connect an existing office to our new office,
Yeah.
how do we allow our employees to potentially telework, which saves on gas and emissions, keeps them happier, spending more time with their family, oftentimes making them more productive, as well as when we have people who are traveling overseas or in other regions where bandwidth may be a problem. So that whole comprehensive outlook is what a consulting does.
Okay. So, if I understand well, the new people that you would hire would understand the new languages like Java, C++, and all these people, not the languages that you currently learned. I mean,
Yes.
that you learned a long time ago, correct?
Yes. Oh no, without a doubt. The lessons and the and the programming languages that I learned are obsolete at this point.
So the people you send would know the new ones.
Yes. And
Okay.
again, I mean, and that's just indicative of evolution of technology. Things are changing and becoming more efficient, better, and again, a lot more agile. So that's a good thing.
Okay. So basically, even though, I mean, as far as you're concerned, because you are managing all this, you don't need to know these new languages to be able, of course, to send these people. You just ask them, do you know them? And then at that point, you decide to send them or not.
Right. Well, so the great thing I believe about Kelco
Yeah.
is being the chief executive, having been hands-on from a very, very early age.
You understand the
I
problems.
understand the foundation of technology. So technology, I mean, it's based on a root foundation. It evolves and gets better, but there is a base understanding that once you have it, you can apply that to technology. So
To anything.
yes,
You
exactly.
can apply it because the logic is there.
Exactly. So, well, I may not be able to program in Java. The principles behind programming, the
It's the same
understanding of the
logic.
structure, yes, exactly. Those are the principles that I can comprehend. And so, therefore, if we're looking at talented people, um, it's very easy for me to assess, their capabilities and their knowledge and expertise based on my own knowledge and expertise.
Okay, and I was wondering if you hire an engineer and he has a problem, is he the one calling you to see what he should do, or is there somebody else?
Oh no, although we are a small business, we have a structure that facilitates, open door communications between our engineers. If they were and solely trying to get a hold of me, it might take some time.
So
I travel quite
there's
a
a
bit.
pool of engineers.
Yes, there's a pool of engineers for them to share information amongst each other.
Okay.
There's also a level of management that's available to escalate issues to should they arise.
Okay, so that sounds like reassuring if you have to travel, because you do travel a lot.
I do.
Okay, so do you still like the business of IT?
I do. It's a thing that makes me wake up in the morning.
Really?
Yes, I'm excited about
You like
solving
your clients?
problems. Oh yes, and there's nothing better than seeing a client who's satisfied, because again, our clients have a variety of goals and focuses. Some of them are doing video production. Some of them are building bombs and rockets and sending people into space. So when your customer can get up and do their job and look back and realize that Kelco Computing Solutions has played a part in helping them achieve their goals, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, since you have been traveling also in other countries, did you see that the way they do business with IT is different than the American way? Can you give us a little perspective on that?
Well, I guess what I would say about an international perspective with regard to technology is, it's unilaterally accepted that technology evolves. So there is no major difference between the methodologies used for technology
In any country.
in any country. I think the main difference one might see is the implementation of technology. Well, see, early on, there was a situation where people had to make a choice to adopt technology.
Okay.
Well, nowadays,
Now they all adopted it.
it is adopted,
It is
widely
adopted.
adopted.
Now
And
it's a
so the challenge
question-
becomes implementation of technology.
Okay.
So if the early adopters, again, a lot of them here in North America have, again, adopted technology early, and now it's reached a level of maturity that's makes it very efficient for them.
Okay.
Well, in Europe and maybe certainly some other undeveloped countries, that implementation is taking longer, so the technology is available, but how do they use it? How do they implement it and make
That's
it
a
effective for
different kind
them?
of consulting for them, right?
Yes,
You have to
exactly.
take them from the bottom up.
Right, exactly.
It's
And there are challenges with bandwidth, as an example. In some of the other countries, you have less available bandwidth, so high technology and high speed
might
solutions
not work.
aren't going to work for them.
I
Exactly.
see. So do you advise also your clients on what hardware to buy, Cisco or another company, or is that their decision? Do you advise on software they should get or anything like that?
Well, our engineers have that capability,
Oh, they are the ones.
and they are again excited and more than willing to help advise a customer on relevant technology that works for that customer.
Okay.
But the ultimate decision lies with the customer.
Yeah, so they will advise on the equipment to get.
Oh yes. It's very important, because again, to design that solution means selecting the right software and the right hardware. And if
Okay.
that solution doesn't work for the customer, then we don't have a good solution. So
Okay.
so it is very important to have the engineers involved in those process decisions about what to acquire, when to acquire it, and how to integrate those types of technologies.
Oh yeah, because I was so impressed. I went to the, as you know, to the Salesforce It's called Dreamforce,
Yes,
and there was
yes.
so many new things out there, like new software, new this, new that. Let go of the old. Let's go for the new.
Yes.
So it's hard. It's like keeping up the Jones or something like this, but it's hard to make the right decision. Get something classic, get something that works rather than the newest thing on the block. I don't know. How do
Yeah.
you make these decisions?
Well, again, I think it goes back to what I said earlier. Our goal is to hire the best and brightest talent on the planet.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you have smart people looking at a situation. You're just going to come up with a real effective solution. And that's how we've been in business as long as we have been, having complete effective solutions designed by really smart people.
Okay. Yeah, that sums it up, I guess. So these people know what's happening out there, and they say, no, we know it's the latest trend, but we think this will work better, things like that.
Well, it is their job to know the latest and greatest. And again, these
It is-
people are passionate about it. So they stay on top of that technology. They oftentimes have labs that they test and vet, solutions in themselves before they suggest them to a client. So it's really an involved process. And
Right.
again, it's really accentuated by the fact that we've got really smart people.
Yeah. Do you, I know they talked at the State of Union address about the women and hiring, more this and more of that. Do you get into that dialogue when you with yourself when you make a decision on who to hire?
Well, and again, I've got hiring managers and recruiters who are out there. One thing about Kelco that a lot of people know, but I'll restate it, is we're a service-disabled veteran-owned company.
Okay.
I proudly served in the United States Air Force.
So you do make an effort to hire the veterans?
Yes, we love our veterans. Those of us who've served our country. Again, an opportunity to come and reacclimate with society and add value is what we desire.
Yeah.
So we're very conscious of veterans. Again, we're an equal opportunity employer. We have some fantastic workforce that's diverse in many cultures, and again, even from men and women perspective. It's important to us. But again, really getting access to that top quality, that top tier of talent
It's
is what
also
drives us.
just as important, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
indeed.
because Salesforce is making an effort to hire a lot of veterans, but then they have to be qualified. I
Oh,
mean,
of course. Yes.
so you can hire them and say, okay, go to school for a year, then come back see me, something like that.
Yeah.
Or
Well, there are a lot of programs, funded by the state as well as the federal government to help re-engineer and retrain a lot of the combat veterans who are coming back from overseas.
and they learned also during their stay in the army a few things.
Oh, certainly. One of the things, my experience with technology was broad because I was a telecommunications specialist in the Air Force.
Oh,
So not only did I have formal training in high school and college, but in the Air Force, I got additional specialized training. And some of that training was classified, and again, allowed me to have a wide, high-level perspective over technology and how it can be implemented to solve a
so
variety of
it
problems.
was very valuable then
Oh,
for
without
you
a
to
doubt.
be in the Air Force.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so I never touched on that topic that you were in the Air Force, but it must have been a great memory or a great time for you.
One of the best experiences I've had in life.
Wow.
I tell you, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how long did you stay on that?
I was in the Air Force for 4 years.
4 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So congratulations. That's good
Thank you.
that you served the country and now you back to serve them in some other ways, right?
Exactly.
So it was a pleasure. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you. So between Kelco and another company,
Okay.
is there a difference? Like there's many IT companies out there, right? Because I meet
Certainly.
tons, dime a dozen networking event. Is there
Yes.
something that make you stand out?
Well, again, I think anyone who's looking for a potential consultant should look at a variety of factors. And one of the most impressive factors that I'm most proud of is the fact that for over 24 years,
Yeah.
we've been designing and implementing complete solutions.
Yeah.
We've made it through the dot-com implosion. When things were bad for the rest of the world, we were still solving problems.
Okay.
So a consultant that has lived and worked for over 24 years.
With the ups and downs of the industry.
Yes, exactly. That is a key indicator that consultant has their finger on the pulse of technology and is the best selection for a potential customer.
That's great. So now you're back in California.
I
So you want to get back in touch with the private sector. Is that what I understand?
Well, I've got a variety of initiatives for first and second quarter, and those revolve essentially around California. The state of California has had, a few challenges with regard to technology and cloud computing, and that's something that we've done a fabulous job with NASA
Really?
in the federal space. So we're looking to uh, to lay out a framework and a roadmap to help California evolve in the way no other states have with regard to cloud computing. So,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's one
So
of our
you have
initiatives.
tried it there, and now you want to bring it here.
Well, yeah, we've done it. We've done it at NASA. We've done it at various private sector firms. And again, what we see is a gap in the state of California is they haven't evolved and implemented cloud technology as effectively as the rest of the world has. So we're going to help them do it, and we're excited about that.
And you're here to do it?
Yes.
Okay, so Chris, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it's about IT or about family or about any other topic, because it's such a pleasure
Thanks, Ellen.
communicating with you. So you are not only a good IT person, you're a good communicator.
Oh, thank you so
So
much.
I enjoyed having you and seeing you off on a Saturday off working hours. So thank you so much for coming on French American TV, I can say, but coming to talk to us about Calco. So if people Google Calco or CalCompute, they'll find you, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have a very nice website, and again, we have a toll-free number, 800-270-5861.
It's
24 hours a day.
24/7?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'd love to take any calls. Again, we've got a phenomenal group
Consulting.
of talent. Yep, they'll consult with any individual companies, startups to large companies on any of their problems.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Elaine.